Oh, there you are. Well, hello, friends and family. Glad to have you over at the home place again today. And since you're here, I'd like to talk to you about what I've learned about this COVID-19. Not from my own personal experience, but from my son's experience. If you're just dropping in and seeing this video, my son has COVID-19. And today would mark the 15th day since he was infected. And through his experiences, I've learned quite a lot. At least about what he's went through. And his roommates and his friends. Because up until him, his roommates and his friends were infected, I didn't know a single person that had COVID-19. I was starting to have doubts about whether it was real or not. I don't have those doubts anymore. It's real. I will guarantee you that. Now, my son, up to the point of him being infected, along with his roommates and his close friends, like I said, a total of 6 people, he just sort of shrugged it off, was rather nonchalant about it, cavalier. He sort of figured he probably already had it, or if he didn't, it wasn't no big thing. But as he's went through this over the last couple of weeks, his attitude towards that's changed. But he's also made me proud in many ways. Now, up to the point of his infection, he wasn't too big on masks. He wasn't too big on any of the restrictions the state wanted to do. But since then, even though it's been, as far as he said, fairly minor for him, his roommates and friends, he has a better understanding of what it would be like for someone like his father who has underlying health issues. And with that, he continuously stresses, I should stay here on the home place. I should avoid people as much as necessary and take all precautions. But what made me proud of him was, unlike so many others here in our state, and I live in Alabama, and God knows we don't need any more bad press, but Lord knows we're going to get it during this pandemic too, because when our governor ordered basically a lockdown, we didn't adhere to that very well. I would say 20 to 30% did. The rest did not. This went on with their lives like normal. Now, granted, Governor Ivey shut down our restaurants, our bars, and what have you, so that sort of curtailed some of the activity. Closed our beaches. But when all that started to go away back here in May, Alabama, which never flatlined, never did the cases ever come down, started to spike. And we've been on a 45 to 55 to 60 degree upward increase ever since that day. Last week, Governor Ivey finally mandated that masks are to be worn in all public places. Yep. And I'll tell you towards the end of this video how that's working out, okay? But what I've learned through my son is, now he did have a fairly mild case. In the first few days, I'd say day 1 through 3 or 4, he had nausea, digestive problems, slight fever, 99.4, 99.6. Nothing real high, which that's typical. Very tired, and he's remained tired through the course of 2 weeks. He had a random cough At first, not so often. As he progressed through the infection, that random cough became more prevalent. And as I told you in the last video, I noticed many times he was coughing. But other than that, that's pretty much it. But he's still stressed, that Papo, based on him knowing what I have as far as health issues. I have COPD, emphysema, and high blood pressure. Daddy, you don't need this. You don't need to be out and about in public. Stay home. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So, today marked the 15th day since his infection. So, by Alabama rules, once you test positive, you got to stay quarantined for 14 days. After that, you can go back and get tested and see if you're going to test positive or negative, which he did that today, this morning. Now, he's paying for the test. He's actually going to urgent care that has the rapid test. He pays for that. And he can get the results in 2 hours and less. Now, the accuracy of the test isn't quite as good as the test that they give where they send it off and all that, but that takes anywhere around here 5 to 7 days. But he did his research and I did mine as well. And the problem with the rapid test is not that it's got a lot of false positives, it does have a lot of false negatives. But like he and I said, as long as he tested positive, he was pretty sure that was fairly accurate. And then he had the symptoms. And so did his roommates, and so did his close friends. And that. So, today he went back and got retested. He called me here around 9:30 this morning. And I was hoping he'd test negative, but he tested positive. And you might say, well, that's not good. But he says he really hasn't had any symptoms since Thursday. Of course, I'd argue that because, he did have a cough. But anyway. With that said, with him testing positive, and his concern for that, he spoke to the doctor there. And what the doctor told him was really enlightening to me. And maybe it will be to you. What the doctor told him was what they're seeing is, because see, to go back to work, in most businesses, most employers, you got to test negative. So what they're seeing now is you can test positive up to 6 weeks afterwards. But what the doctor said, that doesn't necessarily mean that the virus is active or live in the fact that you can infect somebody. And I've done a lot of research on this. And I tend to agree. If the RNA is still present, whether alive or dead, the test is going to catch it. I switched gears like I told you when my son became infected, and I started really ramping up my reading, searching, and researching on the COVID-19. And that's exactly true. And that's why when they say felines have it, dogs and what have you, well, my thought on that, now I'm no expert, I'm just a little old country engineer, fairly analytical person, fairly well educated. If I'm infected, I've got the virus and I'm breathing, coughing, and sneezing on my animals, they're going to have that RNA from COVID on them too. Whether they actually have the virus or not, they may or may not have. Of course, now, here's another thing. There is a coronavirus, a feline coronavirus that's been around for a long, long time that does infect cats. In fact, that is the coronavirus that Bill Gates actually owns the patent for the vaccine on. Yep, not human, feline. And if you do your research, you can find that out too. But he tested positive. And that's why I asked him. I said, well, what'd they tell you? You still got to stay isolated? No, Daddy. They tell you 14 days. And if you're not showing any symptoms, which he says he's not, then you're good to go, even though he retested positive. And of course, James does not work for anybody. He's a business owner, owns his own businesses. But you know what? I'm going to give James credit. He's not going to go back. He's not going to go start serving the public and doing all that. No, he is going to go back out and do a few things. But he's not going to be irresponsible. And this is what I'm most proud of my son. I listened to him and I let him tell me, without me prodding and poking, he was going to wear his mask when he went out, keep washing his hands, doing everything just like the CDC says do. You'll have to excuse me. Elrod here's really wanting a lot of affection right now. Don't you? You just miss Papa. You haven't had your quality time. Yeah. Or you just want to make sure everybody on YouTube sees you. Well, we're trying to do a video here, buddy. Huh? You know James, you love him. Anyway, excuse Elrod. You know, he's a little bit, I don't know what you'd say, love deficient right now. And the other ones, since it's blistering hot, that's why we're sitting there in the shade here in the pine trees talking to y'all. And that, the rest are napping somewhere. You know, Cleo, Magoo, and Spooky. Of course, Trix is slap asleep on a box in the dining room. But back to James. When he told me what he was going to do and everything, it just made me so damn proud of him. And another thing he told me was, in the conversation he had with the doctors, they said, you know, he would have the antibodies that would protect him, or could protect him, let me restate that, for anywhere from 3 to 4 to 6 weeks. After which times, or from now till that time, those antibodies are decreasing and fading away. And his doctor did tell him, at which time, when those antibodies decrease to a certain limit, you could be reinfected a second, and you can also be reinfected a third time. Now, my son and I, we've spent a lot of time talking about this. And even though, you know, he said, see, Dad, I told you it's just going to be minor, it's mild, he still don't want his papo to go through that. And me and him have talked about the fact that right now, and you can do your research on this too, you don't got to take on Mr. Tom's word for it, there are 16 different major strains of COVID-19, or SARS-CoV-2, as the actual virus is named, prevalent in the world today. And then, if you want to get even more specific, within those 16 major subvariants, there are tens of thousands of minor variations. Like I say, 4. Some make them ever more infectious. Some are extremely mild. Others not so much. And that's what me and him have talked to. Did he and his roommates and close friends get a variant that was extremely mild? Who knows? We still don't know enough about this virus. But I'm going to tell you something. After going through this with my son, I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in vaccines, people. I know enough about vaccines, how they work, and what they need to work. And with this thing ever so slightly mutating from person to person, to region, developing a vaccine that's going to cover it all is going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible. And that may be some of the reason why you don't hear much on the media anymore, or from anybody, about the development and progress of vaccines. Pretty much, for the most part, not a whole lot of news about it. Every once in a while you see a story pop up, but here again, no guarantees. I thought those of you who follow the channel and know my son was infected, and I know some of you have had children, cousins, nieces, aunts, grandparents, and other family infected, this would be of interest to you. Now, like in the last video, I'm going to get some people who want to tell me, wake up, Mr. Tom. They're going to send me links. They're going to tell me what a moron I am. And can't believe people even follow me and watch this YouTube channel. If you don't believe it, I left one in particular's comments down in the comment section below on the previous video. I don't mind calling him out. His YouTube name is Mike G. Don't got no videos. I'm not a content creator. Don't have no playlist, nothing. He's just some random person, anonymous person out there that apparently has some strong opinions. And those strong opinions are aimed at old Mr. Tom. And they have been before. On his education level, where he lives, quality of mind and thought. You know, I'm a moron. But you know what? Oh, Mike G, he's a true moron. Yep. Because he doesn't understand when he voices such opinions that are personally degrading to others. He's the one that looks like an animal. And I'll tell him this right straight up on this video. But I'm really proud of my son. And he's going to comply with all the CDC guidelines. He's going to wear his mask when he goes out in public. Of course, now, that's what the governor has mandated. He's going to make sure he's washing his hands, using his hand sanitizer. I mean, his whole attitude towards this is flipped since he's had it. Now, I can tell you, he is super grateful that his symptoms were extremely mild. That of his roommates and friends as well. And I am extremely grateful. Because you know what? I give all the credit to y'all out there, your prayers, as well as mine, and of course, the true credit goes to our Father in heaven. Before I leave you today, I want to talk to you about another thing that involves COVID-19, especially here in my state of Alabama, which is trying to be the center of what I feel is, not sure how to put it. Here in Alabama, we get a lot of bad press, but sometimes we're deserving of it. And what I saw today reminded me of how well deserved it is. You know, I took a ride. Well, I had to. I'd finished up my taxes back, got them filed on the 15th. But, even though they were accepted and everything, I owed old Uncle Sam money. So I need to send a check out. So what I decided to do today, I decided to run over quick to the post office. Now, I had all the stuff in the car, N95 mask, surgical mask, gloves, Clorox wipes, hand sanitizer. I was all geared up. And I went over. And I mailed them my money. Then on the way back, I saw this convenience store. One I used to shop at all the time when I was working. Because they're the only convenience store we have that's open 24 hours a day. But what I saw was there was nobody there. It was open, but nobody was there. So I thought, you know, I've only got a few slices of bread left. I can just whip in there real quick, put my mask on, put my gloves on, run on in there. I'm going to pick up a couple loaves. But now, granted, I was going to pay a little bit more because it's a convenience store, right? That was okay. It's not like they rip you off too bad around here. So I ran on in there. Got my bread. Well, while I was there grabbing a couple loaves of bread, I heard, doorbell. They got a little door chime whenever you come indoors, either side. Heard that. I looked up. Well, there was a guy that came to pick up pizza. They also have Hunt's Brothers pizzas that they make there on site, and you can come by, pre-order them, come by and grab you a nice fresh pizza. So, everybody else had a mask on, the clerks, everybody in the store, and I did. This guy did not, and he was probably early 20s. And the clerk, which is also the owner, the wife of the owner, was telling him he needed to have a mask on. Then an older lady walked up, came in, as I was walking down the aisle, and said something about, to you need to have a mask on. She had hers on. And of course, you can imagine what happened then. He just went ballistic. All about masks. And then he was going to turn around and start to point out other people didn't have masks on. Well, as the clerk pointed out, the other little lady, old lady, her husband, everybody had masks on but him. He's supposed to have a mask on. And she wanted him to stand back. He wasn't having no part of that. In fact, he immediately blew up and went nuclear. Of course, I sped up my pace a little bit. And I walked on down there. Now, I listened to what he said as I came down there, him spilling his crap. About he can do whatever he wants. This is a free country. This is his freedom. Yeah. I'm all about freedom. I'm all about personal choice. True. You want to kill yourself, that's fine. What I'm not all about is you want to come out and inadvertently affect others and kill them. That ain't your freedom. That ain't your choice. And I know everybody's saying now the masks aren't effective and all that. They don't do nothing. They're just BS, and God knows all the expletives that people are using. Well, I ask you this, then why is every healthcare worker in every hospital wearing them? Every EMT, first responder, all. And they weren't of any use. Why in the hell are they not going without? You don't see that. Not one time. Now, granted, you get these supposed doctors that come on YouTube and tell you all kinds of stuff. They aren't physicians. They have doctorate degrees. Hell, I can go get one of them. Be a doctor before my name. It don't make me one. It don't make me a specialist in infectious diseases and viruses. No. Don't make me any of that. But as soon as I walked up, and I'm going to tell you what, people. Here again, I'm all about, choice and all that. It was the choice of the shop owner to require a mask to enter and do business, as mandated by our governor. Everybody else was complying. And it was her business and right to ask the guy to back off and go get his mask before she finalized the sale for the pizza that was sitting on the counter, which he didn't want to do. When I cleared my throat behind him, he turned around and looked at me. He just didn't want to go no further with that. I'm not sure if it was the look on my face or the look in my eyes, but I'm about at that point too. If you can't do something as simple as wear a mask when you go in a store, then don't go. Plain and simple. Because that's where your freedom ends. If you've got the freedom not to wear one, people who own those businesses got the freedom to require one. And you are under no obligation to patronize their business, whether it's a convenience store, the U.S. Post Office, Costco, Target, Walmart, or where have you. You can just stay out here wherever you want to be and do without, or have it all delivered via Amazon, Walmart.com, whatever. There's your freedom. You got choices. Now, I know a whole lot of people who are going to stumble on this video. Not only going to have a problem with what I've said about my son, but they're going to have a problem with this mask issue. And I don't really care. It's such a simple thing to do. And this whole thing about CO2 buildup and people sticking outdoor CO2 monitors up through the mask so they can show when somebody breathes out, there's like 10 times more CO2. Just stick that bad boy by your nose without a mask and breathe out. Yeah. Then watch these videos real close. You got to be sharp. How they fade in the breaks. See, it is not about reality. In fact, I did a test the other night. And if you want, I'll do a video on it. Now, I don't have a CO2 monitor, but I do have an oximeter, which goes on your little finger. You see them. Nurse uses them when you go to the doctors. Doctors use them. EMTs use them. ERs, whatever. And it measures the oxygen level in your blood. And what I did the other night, because I wonder about this. I see those videos and I wonder. I put that on my finger. And I was monitoring my oxygen level in my blood. Now I have COPD and emphysema. So mine ain't going to be 99 to 100%. Not on my best day. It's going to be anywhere from 95 to 97. Occasionally, on a good day, it might be 98. And I took a reading that particular evening, 97, 98. I felt pretty good about that. Then I put on a surgical mask. And I sat there breathing, watching YouTube videos, looking at that oximeter. It fluctuated, 96, 97. Of course, 5 minutes, did I get lightheaded, delusional, or pass out? No, I did not. Then I upped it one. Then I went and got a brand new N95. And I fitted it just right to my face. In fact, I shaved. Of course, got a little stubble now. So it'd be right there. And I put it on. And I sat there. And then I thought, well, I got to go feed the kitty crew. So I went out and fed them. Walked around the place. Did all that while I was wearing it. Oxygen level, for me, never got below 96%. Nope. I still didn't get lightheaded, fall out, or have a problem. In fact, I was wearing that N95 for probably nearly 30 minutes. And yeah, I hate them too, folks. I really do. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. If there's even the slightest chance that it'll help contain the spread in my state, which has now got just stupid, you know. We're on the news every day. Us, Florida, Texas, Mississippi. We're leading the world now in cases. Not only infections, but ICU rooms used and deaths. If it'll help that much when I go out, I'm willing to do that. And I'm going to ask all of y'all to think about that hard. And then, you know, if you just can't bring yourself to do that little bitty thing, then ask yourself, in your time of need, whether it be maybe you're drowning one day, you're in a car accident, or what have you, do you expect anybody to exert any effort to come to your need, to help you out in your time of need? I want you to think about that, folks. Because I'm going to tell you what, I'm old enough to know now. What you put out in your life and how you are, it will come back on you. I didn't understand that when I was younger, but my father always told me, give it time, Tommy. It'll come back to him. And you know what? That old man was right. Over the years, I've seen that come to be the truth. You just gotta wait. So y'all, wanted to come on this afternoon, let you know how my son's doing. Overall, he's doing fine. And for the most part, I mean, he's not going to go back and be involved in his business. He's going to stay out of that, but he is going to go out and do what other things he needs to do. But he's going to be wearing his mask, washing his hands, and doing all that like a responsible young person. And for that, I'm extremely proud of him. So y'all, I hope this all finds y'all happy out there, safe and healthy, with your families, your loved ones. I do hope you'll join me in taking all precautions when you go out. Be as safe as you humanly possibly can. Take no chances. And may God bless each and every one of you, your families and loved ones. Till next we speak on the next video. Goodbye for now. Oh, I wonder where Elrod went to. I guess he was tired of me sitting there chatting to all of y'all. So with that said, we gotta go on in, round up some grub for the kitty crew, check on Miss Triggs. I think there's Cleo. Cleo, is that you? Is that you, Elrod? Yep. There's Cleo. Where's Magoo hanging out at? Huh? I haven't seen him all day. Well, if you see him, let him know I'm looking for him, okay? Okay, Mama. I love you too. Later, all.